from Essential Guitar Lessons. This is one of the lessons from our beginner's guitar course. This video may reference from other videos in the course, or if you find you're not quite at this level, come join us at Essential Guitar Lessons, where you'll get the full step-by-step course with every technique broken down to its simplest form. So let's get started. Let's start with the E minor chord. I find this one the easiest for beginners to start playing. First, let's learn how to read the chord chart. You can see we have 6 lines going vertically, and they represent the 6 strings of the guitar. Starting on the far left, we have the top E string, number 6, going through to the right, the bottom E string. Like everything to do with guitar, it's flipped on its side. This is where it differs from tab. We have a thick line on the top, and that represents the nut of the guitar. Then as we move down, we have the frets. 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, and 4th fret. So the top one is the 1st fret moving down. As we spoke about in an earlier lecture, the frets are actually the silver bits running along the neck of the guitar. But we call this part here the 1st fret, 2nd fret, and 3rd fret. So pretty easy so far, it just looks like the neck of the guitar. Now we place dots where we want our fingers to go. So you can see we have one dot on the 5th string, 2nd line from the left on the 2nd fret, 2nd space from the top. We also have a 2nd dot on the 4th string, 3rd line from the left, also in the 2nd fret. Now we put numbers in the dots, and they represent what fingers to use. So 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It's not like tab, it's not telling us what frets to use, it's telling us what fingers. So you can see with this chord, we use the 2nd and 3rd fingers. Now the easiest way to read this is similar to the tab, one string at a time. Don't look at it as a block and try and work it out. So let's go through the chord. With our E minor, we play all the strings. So we start far left, top E string, playing but no fingers. Coming across one, we have our 2nd finger, 2nd fret on the A string. Now don't put that right at the front because we've got to fit our 3rd finger in there. Then we take our 3rd finger, that's also on the 2nd fret, but this time on the D string, or 4 up from the bottom. We have an open G string, an open B string, and an open E string. So let's play that. And that's our E minor chord. So some things to think about with the chords. Always have the claw shape, that way you're playing on the tips of your fingers. Don't let them bend in the other way. The fingers you're not using, don't tuck them under the neck or don't have them sticking out. Keep them close to the strings but not touching. Keep your thumb straight, not off to the side. Now with the chords, we don't have to have our fingers straight to the frets, they can go on an angle. Now if you're getting string buzz when you're playing the chords, there's normally 2 reasons. One, you're not pushing hard enough on the string, so just push a little bit harder, or otherwise you've come back on the fret. Now with a lot of chords, you'll be using different fingers on different strings, but they'll be on the same fret. So you can see with the E minor chord, I've got my 2nd finger on the A string, 5 up from the bottom on the 2nd fret, then my 3rd finger also on the 2nd fret, but this time on the D string. So you won't be able to get your 2nd finger to the front of the fret because your 3rd finger's in the way. So just go as close as possible. Next, do we want the palm of our hand touching the neck? Now I find with beginners, if their palm is touching, it stabilizes the guitar. Just be careful not to touch the top string with your thumb, and don't mute the bottom string with your palm. If this is happening, drop your hand down and have a small gap between the neck and your hand. With hand position, go for comfort. If it feels better with your hand on the neck, that's fine. If it feels better with the gap, that's okay too. Last thing is our right hand. Don't hit the strings too hard. You'll be getting an ugly sound. Try and relax your hand. Also, don't just play the top few strings or the bottom few strings. With our E minor chord, we want to strum all the strings. So let's try some exercises using the E minor chord. Let's strum the chord 4 times. Don't hold your pick too tight, let it bounce over the strings. Use your arm from your elbow down, not just your wrist, over the sound hole or in between your pickups, straight down towards the ground, and with our E minor hitting all the strings. So we start with our open E string, plain but no fingers. Second finger, second fret on the A string, or 5 up from the bottom. Third finger, also on the second fret on the D string, 4 up from the bottom. Open G, open B, and open E. We strum that 4 times. Stop and strum for another 4. Now while you're holding down the shape, play all the strings individually and see if you're muting any of them. What we don't want is... So I'm blocking the G string with my third finger. The main reason this will happen is you're not on the tips of your fingers, so you'll need to bring your hand around. So move your arm closer to the neck. Now you may mute the strings at first, don't worry, just be aware of it, and the more you practice, the easier it becomes. So let's try another exercise. With this next exercise, we're going to strum the chord 4 times, take our hand off and put it back on and strum another 4 times. Now this is really important. We want to put our fingers on the same way every time. So if you're starting with your second finger, then putting your third finger on, do it that way every time. If you're doing it the other way, that's okay. Third finger, then second finger. Just make sure you're doing it that way every time. What we're trying to do is create muscle memory. All that means is we don't want to have to think about it. Once you've played it the same way over and over again, your hand will go straight onto the chord. So let's try the exercise. Second finger, second fret on the A string. Third finger, second fret on the D string. Strum that 4 times. Take your hand off, put it back on the same way, another 4 times. Hand off and back on again. So spend some time working on that exercise. Hopefully you're getting a nice clean sound out of that. Now you may be wondering why we're using the second and third finger rather than the first and second finger. Now we do this to make transitions to other chords easier. So if I was on my E minor and I wanted to play E or A minor or C after the E minor, I don't have to swap my fingers around, they're ready to go. So let's try the E chord. We hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you would like to take the full course, please click the subscribe button and choose a plan that best suits you.